Hey everyone, welcome to the Powered by Iron Health podcast. Thank you for watching. If you get any value from this, give us a like, comment, share. We're trying to grow the show. We want to help give people some value on physical therapy and health overall. So let us know what you think. We really want to create a community that raises the standard of health and wellness. There's a lot of crap out there. So we're trying to cut through the crap and say, hey, this is what it's about. Specifically in my field, in PT, not throwing shade at anyone, but a lot of the places now are backed by private equity. They're having venture capitalist money on them. It comes down to dollar signs. We're trying to change that. So it starts from a small trickle and comes to a big, big wave. That's what we're trying to do. So today, what are we talking about? We're talking about the psychology of ACL tears. Now, I will talk specifically about my story because I got into PT because I tore my ACL. Firstly, I played high school football 4 years. Made it to my senior year, made it through my whole season. Then after my season, I'm just messing around, playing two-hand touch, running around thinking I'm a hot shot running back, planted my foot, turned one way and heard a pop. And that's how I tore my ACL. So it was after my high school season, playing around. Usually that does happen that way. Sadly, it's a common thing. So I know from first experience that it is not a pleasant journey. The ACL is really one of the main ligaments in your knee. It creates stability of the knee, and it doesn't allow your tibia to go forward on your femur. And it allows for a lot of mobility in the knee as well, for us to be able to make cuts and stuff like that. I'm not going to dive into specifics of that, but I think it's important to know the basics. One thing to know too is the surgery has come such a long way from where it was. I was actually with the surgeon the other day, and he was telling me back in the day how they used to repair the ACL. They would make a big incision. They would cut a piece of this IT band. They would cut a piece of the hamstring, and they would bring it in through the bottom of the knee, and they'd put them in a cast. It's like, that's crazy. People were in a cast from ACLs. Now it's your surgery. You're not in a cast. Sometimes you're not even in a brace. It's just like, hey, go to PT. So what happened with me was tore my ACL. Day one, I went to my PT, walking on crutches, full of fear. And I remember them kind of spending time with me, really starting to do range of motion on my knee. And now here I am, like 17, just like, oh shit, what's going on? I'm fearful. And that day one, they just gave me the space to say, hey, this is where you are. This is where you're going to get to go. This is how the process looks. And they gave me solace and knowledge in that. So I'm very tied to ACL rehab specifically. Now, anyone who has the athletic mind or is an athlete, I'll preface it with this. You can get back to where you want to go, even though you had an ACL injury. It's not the end of the world. Just believe that. That's the first layer. You have to believe it. Okay? Traditionally, what happens with ACL injuries, they happen when people are pivoting. So they plant and they move. So there's a lot of fear associated with that. But we're going to go through the phases of psychology. The first phase after rehab is the fear phase. We'll call it that. It's the psychological aspect of an ACL rehab. You come out of surgery and you're fearful that your knee's never going to be the same. So what do you have to do in this phase? Just know that it's not going to be that way forever. The surgery's been around for a long time. Specifically, like with us, I see these surgeries all the time, and I know that where you are today is not going to be where you are in 6 months, where you're not going to be in a year. So just really start to talk to yourself in a way to say that I'm not going to be this way forever, because the negative talk can really start to evolve and take over, and that's when a fear spiral happens. So phase one is that fear phase. Don't let it overtake you. Know that what you're feeling right now is very temporary, and you'll get beyond that. Okay? Phase two, I would say it starts to evolve from that fear phase to I'm never going to get better phase. And for me, I had this phase, and I remember specifically, it was me going downstairs. I could not, for some reason, control my leg when I went downstairs, right? We call that an eccentric contraction. Your quad is elongating against gravity, and I couldn't control it. And I was like, damn, this thing's never going to get better. In my mind, I was telling myself that. I'm like, will I ever get back to playing football? Will I ever get back on the field? Will I ever get back to running? How you get through that phase is to make sure you're tracking your small progress, because there is a point where it does get a lot challenging. Like any injury I see, this is not just ACL, but it is with ACL, where you have a nice curve up and then it starts to be a grind where you got to hustle to get up that hill. You will make it, but just now how you do it is you track your little progress. Like, hey, I was able to walk a lot further today. Or you know what, I can't do a full step, but I'm going to try on a 4-inch step and start to evolve that. So the not getting better phase. So what do you have to do in this phase? Track your small progress. And again, the way you talk to yourself is very important. Have a support system, have your PT, your medical doctor talking to you that's empowering, because you're not going to be stuck there forever either. I mean, there's NFL players, there's professional soccer players who are playing again post ACL. You are the same. You can get there. So that's really the second phase I see. The next phase is I'm afraid to re-tear it. So you kind of have these 3 phases, maybe a 4th that we'll throw in there. The afraid to re-tear phase is when you're kind of beyond that 5-6 month mark where now you're getting better. You're starting to actually implement some running, some cutting, some plyometrics, but there's still this underlying fear that's there that says, hey, I can re-tear this. I've heard somewhere in the grapevine that if I tear an ACL once, I can re-tear it again. Just know that that fear is normal, right? Your body is sending you signals to protect you. So how do you minimize that? You train harder, right? You get back into PT. You don't lose hope in that area. I traditionally like to see clients 6 months and then we cut it down, but they're with me for a year because I want to make sure that they're fully ready to get back to what they want to do. That fear is a normal part of it, right? And you might always your body might get to 95% better, but your mind might not be there. That's kind of that water where you have to like dive in, take that step and say, I'm going to just get through this because I know I can. That would be phase 3. Phase 4 would really be where your body's ready, you think you're ready, but then there's still some hesitation with high level activity. So this is when someone's getting to that return to sport phase. Their mind is still a little fearful that they might tear it. They haven't been on the field in a year, and there's still a little hesitation, right? So this is your building up here. Now through these processes, you've heard me say, you have to have a strong way you talk to yourself from day one, because the way you talk to yourself is going to carry you through your rehab. Always talk to yourself with the end in mind, saying, I'm here today, but I know I'm going to get back on the field. That's where you want to consistently talk to yourself. Always will that way, right? Once you're getting to the end of rehab, understand that you put the work in, especially if you're a good physical therapist. You put the work in. You've gotten strong. You've evolved. You've done everything in your power not for this to give out or happen again. And then the truth be told, once you get back out there, there's going to be hesitation. That's normal. That's okay. But rely back on your belief system that I'm going to get through this. I've done what I have to do. I'm strong. This is what I envisioned after day 1 of this ACL, that I was going to be here, and now I'm here. So the psychology aspect is really the self-talk, how you're talking to yourself, and then putting in the work. With those 2 things, you're going to be massively ahead of the curve. And then also don't be fearful to talk to your PT about how you're feeling, because that's very important, right? There is a fear index. We need to decrease that. It's normal to have that, but we need to decrease that. So start talking to yourself in a stronger, empowering way. Develop your strength, put the work in. It's going to be a lot of work, but that's okay. If you're an athlete, you're used to it. So let me know what you think about that. If you have an ACL tear, you want some more information or more support, let us know. We'd love to help you. We love treating ACLs. Thanks for watching.